What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Queen of the Ring podcast. I am Alex Lajas, and today we have a good old friend of mine, Mr. Cameron Hawkins, of course, from The Ringer. We were just talking about WrestleMania and how we're going to be so tired.
Yes, already exhausted for sure.
I am already so tired preparing media, questions, meetups, networking, all that stuff. I'm ready for a nap already.
Yeah, man. I'm hoping we talked before, like I got a couple of things I've already signed up to do, and I'm just like balancing this with sleep. Like I'm getting older. It's not like a build up to where I started doing this at like 25 and then like, okay, now I'm like 30. I'm like, okay, I got all the energy in the world. Nah, man, we touching 40 now, man. So it's like I gotta find time to actually sit down and decompress over the next couple of days. So that's gonna be the hard part. Like that's gonna be the task for sure.
Yeah. Stocking up on like Gatorade, Pedialyte.
Exactly.
Finding time to eat.
Yeah.
But this is your second year WrestleMania as media?
Yeah. Second year is media. In 2 years ago was in Dallas, and I did a couple of things like WrestleMania adjacent, like the what was it, a Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy, Ric Flair panel that Conrad hosted. So I did media for that. And that was cool, man. Like Malcolm was there, Brian Waters was there, Evan Mack was there. So that was really cool. But like official WWE, yeah, this is the second year.
Yeah. Because last year was my first year as well, WrestleMania in LA, which was a wild time.
Yeah,
it was a wild time. But like I feel like you and I, whenever we get into those rooms together, we just gotta like brace each other and be like, look at us now. Like we made it. We've done that so many times.
Because I remember during the pandemic, we kind of sat down. We did a show that I was doing. I think I had you on there, I had Chris on there, I had a couple of guys from San Antonio on there. And it was just like figuring this thing out during the downtime. And I think that me and you definitely came out better for it afterward because it's like, especially in your case, you were able to like really focus on the show that you were doing, which didn't really require you being in different places. And so now that's the easy part. You know what I mean? Like you getting out and doing stuff. Now that's the easy part. So yeah, man, what a ride. And like you said, like we see each other in there. We know exactly where we came from. We kind of saw each other like get it out the mud. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, we definitely got closer during the pandemic. I feel like you and and there's a ton of people that came up at the exact same time because we were bored in the house bored. And we just like had the time to create. And I have to say, I'm so incredibly proud to see how much you've blossomed with your writing. I feel like a lot of us, like when you go a little deep, when you touch on certain topics on Twitter, you're a good voice of reason.
Yeah.
And to see you capture that with these incredible talent that we watch every single week and uplifting them, it's just extraordinary to see your journey with that.
Yeah, and I think like the fun part is, and not nobody, but like nobody knew I did that. That was the fun part. Like everybody kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people were just like, oh, it's like guy on Twitter with jokes and clever sometimes. And it's like, no, like writing's been my thing like my whole life. And, my degree's in English, and I had a blog that nobody in wrestling read for a long time. That didn't have a lot of wrestling in it, but I did that. So when the opportunity came up, I think, of course, like I think the writing is good because my editor thinks it's good and people think it's good. But that was really the a turning point for me because it wasn't just personality is getting to write stuff. It's like, oh, like this was the thing all along. We just didn't get to see it. So yeah, man, it's been really cool to shock and surprise people, but also to make my friends like proud of me for things they probably saw coming. So yeah, for sure.
Man, every time you tweet out that link to the article, your Sting one, I think, was the one that was like, oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Hawkins has got it in him. And like, what? Your best tweet was about Pornhub and Venom.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And the craziest part, like, and this is not no shade to nobody, but somebody I would consider a peer, that's like the main reason we don't get along. Like, who does this Seahawk guy think he is? He's I don't know, a gutter mouth or whatever, and he's over here talking about porn, and he gets to write. It's like, guys, we can be more than one person. Like
Yeah.
we can have a good time over here, and then have some insight over here. But yeah, it is absolutely like the Sting article is what got that tweet taken off of the pin tweet. I was like, we might have ascended a little bit past that, so that's what really changed that up.
You were like, I guess I gotta keep it a little
Yeah,
professional.
let's switch it up a little bit. But yeah, but the fun part is the people I work with in WWE media and the people I work with in AEW media, and we've all had a good laugh about that specific tweet. So it's like, you never know what can get you in the door or what can put eyes on you. So yeah, just
Yeah.
be careful, but have fun while you're being careful, for sure.
Because it's talent, right? Like, it's talent. Your writing's going to get you through the door. Me, like, from personal experience, just being the theater kid, outgoing person that I am, gets me through the door. But also just having that shared common interest of silly, goofy shit, sometimes. Like, I think that's a lot of maybe something that's missing in media, where it's like, you can know all your stuff about wrestling,
Yeah.
but you also kind of have to be a personal uh, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah.
I've had that conversation with people, and it wasn't always a conversation. Sometimes it was an argument, but it was always a thing where, like, we have wrestling historians. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
you have your Wade Kellers, you have your Dave Meltzers. I mean, insert name wherever you want to put it. You got your Mike Johnsons, and again, and these guys still do, like, very much do media work. But I'm like, um, you know, the place for a wrestling historian is writing really, really good books that we're definitely going to read, right?
mm-hmm.
People have this idea that I know every single thing about wrestling. I can tell you exactly what happened on Monday Night Raw 6 years ago today, or 16 years ago today, or 60 years ago today. There wasn't a Raw, but you know what I mean. And they like, I know trivia. Why don't I have X, Y, and Z opportunities? Like, well, it's more than that. It's about having an audience that wants to relate to you on a level where it's interactive, not just, hey, way to
Mm-hmm.
know that fact. And it's a point of contention with some people. I mean, I think you and I are kind of in that spot where we're still new media, but I wouldn't call us like Gen Z media, if that makes sense. Like, look, we saw a conversation on the timeline the last couple of days, and it's certainly not no shade to nobody, but somebody was like, hey, I love wrestling. I buy tickets to every show. I buy all the merch, and I would love to be in this press conference or this media call. And it's like, well, you're a fan. Like, and we're
Mm-hmm.
all fans in some capacity, but there's nothing that you provide as a service to this company, whether it be talking about their talent, whether it be promoting an event, whether it be, memorializing somebody. Like, you just being cool and you spending money is not important to the company in a way that somebody that's part of the press or has an audience that wants to support both the creator and the product they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a little jarring, but also like I wasn't upset. Like, a lot of people got mad. I wasn't upset because, again, I think you and I we do blur the lines a little bit in that, um, you know, we create, we build, we put out product, and I think to somebody who doesn't absorb things that we do, they don't absorb the writing, they're not interested in the long form, detailed stream. I think for them, it can be a jealousy thing, but also like we got to do so much between one event and the next event that they don't see. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to the ranch this weekend, shout out to Texas. Going to the ranch this weekend, and my computer is coming with me to the ranch, because I got something I got to put out prior to WrestleMania. That's kind of a big deal, at least in my eyes and the company's eyes. And ain't no sleep, ain't no stopping. I don't just get to go out there and drink beer around the campfire and like throw the football around with everybody. I got to do work outside of my actual career. And so I wish people would look a bit more into the idea that this is a job. Do we get
Yeah.
cool perks of it? Yeah, but this is a job. Yeah, and I think I want more people to really, really grasp that.
I think it's also like the lens of social media as well, right? Because it's like during the downtime, nobody sees us, right? Staying up till 4 in the morning, getting the articles done, getting the research done, because it's not just sitting down with talent and just shooting the shit. You got to come up with the questions. You got to come up with the material. You have to put in the work.
Mhm.
And it can be hard. It can be hard when you're putting in the work. You've got deadlines. You're dealing with like mental health issues. You're dealing with imposter syndrome. You know, that's a side of media that not a lot of people see. And I think I was talking about this the other day where sometimes wrestling can feel like it's a little too accessible to fans,
Yeah.
you know? Because when it comes to other, like, this is entertainment business, right? Professional wrestling is an entertainment business. And for me, and I know that I've told you this before, I've always saw wrestling as theater. So when I compare wrestling, I compare it to movies, Hollywood, all that stuff. I don't see a lot of people um saying they can take these positions of being like critiquing uh movies easily the
Mhm.
way that I see people, you know, buying front row tickets at shows, having all this memorabilia in the room, which is like it's great. That's great that but you know, there's it feels like sometimes there's like different positions that people take on and it's great to be an aspiring content creator in
Yeah.
this world of like, you know, there's a I want to touch base of what you're saying. Like, there's a lot of Gen Z creators in the space, but they utilized that platform of TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, they're utilizing Twitch as well.
Hmm.
And again, a lot of people had the time within the past 4 years to grow that. But man, it's hard. It's hard to get into those rooms. And Sean Ross Sapp put out this like long tweet that I think is a very necessary component to understanding the world of wrestling media because it's ever evolving. And like you said, we've had the historians, we've had the people that like have this extensive knowledge, but at some point there's somewhere to go and you need to go up. And so you're going to get the content creator. Sure, you're going to get the interviews, you're going to get the scoops, you're going to get the journalism, you know? But at the same time, like you need those other aspects of it. And, you know, if it's doing the work of doing the extensive research on different subjects going into these bigger weekends, right? Like your piece on Ricky Starks, your piece on Jay Uso especially. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into that. And then there's other creators like me where I'm comparing like Cody Rhodes to Cyclops. You know what I mean? Like, but that's like it's different elements to wrestling media that I feel like you know, I said it under Sean's tweet where it's like, I'm very much aware if it wasn't for me being on Complex, I probably wouldn't be in those rooms easily. Easily. You know what I mean? And I feel, you know, being a part of like WWE and the bump and everything, like that was some heavy stuff to take on because it
Yeah.
was just, you know, for me personally, and I know that you can agree with this too, where having built this, like structurally built this during 2020 when there was no like physical proof of success, and then to finally go out to these weekends and people are coming up to you like, oh, I follow you on Twitter, like it's like, I love your stuff, I love your stuff, and there's so many people doing that. And then when you're entering those rooms with your peers, and then your peers are doing that, where like it's people you have watched for so long. Like I remember the Walt Culture guys when I was at Wrestlemania in Dallas. They're like, "Oh, you're Queen of the Ring," and I was like, "I was watching you when you were like, here's the top 10 best blah 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 blah." You know what I mean? Like it's just like
Mhm.
it's wild. But there's like, you know, I'm very appreciative. I'm very grateful of the position that I take on in media. I deal with the imposter syndrome sometimes of like, you know, I don't have the scoops. I don't know the backstage stuff. You know, I pride myself in, I like what I like, and I'm the silly goose in wrestling. Like that's
Yeah.
what I like to do. But,
But listen to what
um,
you're saying though. Like you provide something that serves an audience. Like you provide something that is unique. Like you talk about Cody Rhodes and Cyclops. A lot of people don't think that, and even the people who do think that do not have the ability to put that information out in a way that's entertaining. Like, look,
mhm,
we built up a lot of what we did kind of specifically through Twitter, right?
mhm,
I get like what 50, 60 hot dog jokes a week on Twitter. And the thing about it is, they're not funny. And that's the biggest thing. Whenever a joke is funny, I acknowledge that a joke is funny.
uh-huh,
If the joke's not funny and you continue to make the joke, like it shows that you don't understand your audience. Even if your audience is an
mm,
audience of one, you don't understand your audience. So again, like you're not bringing what you think you are to the table. Like this is my example. This is my Gen Z example. Muscle Man Malcolm. Muscle Man Malcolm is almost exclusively a video content creator. Everything he does is visual, right?
mhm,
It's funny and it's engaging. And I mean, not just engaging to us. When you see him sit down with a talent, the talent is 100% engaged. They're
mhm,
not tuned out. They're getting questions that they don't get from anybody else, right? And is it very specific investigative journalism? No, it's not. But this has been around forever. Like, he's the new late night talk show.
yeah,
And I think that, like, the problem is everybody has a camera, everybody has a phone, everybody has Canva so they can add captions to their work. So they think, well, I can do exactly what he can do. No, you can't. No, you can't. You
no,
are not you are not capable of doing it. And it's not an insult. You're very good at the job you do, right? Listen, you sell the hell out of that insurance, right? When you get that calculator out and start to accounting, you account the shit out of it. You can't do what he does. And I
mhm,
WWE and AEW and whoever else, they recognize that. Like it's their job to see talent, right? Like they
mhm,
know exactly what they're looking for. And like it's again, it ain't no shade to nobody, but it's got to be more than just being a fan. It has to be. You have to present something. Hopefully, it's unique. Everybody can't be unique, but if you're not unique, boy, you got to be good at what you do. You
yeah,
have to be on par with the other people who do your job, and so few people are. And the biggest thing about wrestling, like you said, they treat wrestling different. It's because wrestling is the Wild West, and that's really what it is. You know what I mean? Like
mhm,
wrestling content creators got on and got good with wrestling way before NBA or NFL content creators did, right? Because there wasn't a space for that super early on. But again, these people are good at what they do. Like maybe you are good at it, but we had to wait 4 or 5 years after. And again, Alex, I won't speak for you. I'm talking about waiting 4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years when people first started knowing my name. I was working
mhm,
10 years before that. You know what I mean? So for somebody to want this thing to pop off for them in a year, I'm not angry at somebody for thinking it. I'm just saying, like, that's really not how it goes. Unless, I always said this too, the only way you'll ever have 8 million people watching Monday Night Raw again is if Randy Orton literally walks on water. There's not the new thing. The new
Mm-hmm.
thing doesn't exist just yet. The very, very good thing, the very efficient thing does. And again, uniqueness can exist in all spaces, but you're not going to all of a sudden reinvent the wheel. So if you're not doing something new or fresh or as good as your peers, it's not going to be your time. It's just not what it is.
Yeah. And using Malcolm as an example, what he started creating when he was 13 years old.
What is he,
Like,
24 now?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's 10 years. And now he's like kind of entering the conversation of like, oh, that's someone to look out for. Now, after 10 years,
Mhm.
and he's been putting in the work, and it's incredible to see him how he works behind the scenes too. Like it's incredible stuff, and I'm really excited to see how many new faces are going to be in the media room as well next year or next weekend. And not even just a media room, just like at WrestleCon doing interviews. Like, it'll
Yeah.
be cool to see who's doing that. It'll be cool to see people at Wale Mania, and especially at Wale Mania, to cut it loose as well.
Yeah.
Just kind of put the worker hat down, like that, the guard down a little bit of like, who's getting drunk.
I went to a show. I went to a show this last Sunday, as a matter of fact, and it was a shout out to Inspire AD, local Austin promotion, and like some of the kids there, like during intermission, were coming out to me like, "Yo, so you gonna be at Wildlife Mania? Like, I got my VIP ticket," and it's just like I feel so good for like the baby wrestlers and the
Yeah.
baby content creators. And you know what? I hate that when everybody was really excited about their Royal Rumble media access, and everybody was posting it on the socials. I hate that there's a contingent and a part of the community that's like, oh, why are you bragging about that, and why are you saying that in front of everybody, and why are you making it look like you did something special? It's like, guys, like, people should be proud of their hard work paying off to where they get to do more work. Like, it's just what it's supposed to be. I feel like this time around, people were like way slower to post that because of embarrassment or fear of like pushback. It's like, boy, fuck these people. Like, be proud of your work. Be proud of what you did. Like, celebrate yourself. Like, oh man, I like you said, I'm excited, man. And WrestleCon kind of especially because that is, and it's not that it's a step below, but that's how a lot of people start to come up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You doing the other thing is how you start to come up, and it's a great way to get seen, a great way to create content, and actually, in fairness, if there wasn't this WWE world thing, for a lot of people, it's a way better way to create content because you
Yeah.
kind of have free reign of the floor. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it's gonna be. I don't know how we're gonna balance it, Alex. I don't know how we're gonna balance it, but um, I'm already like I'm already.
I
I thought I had Friday morning free. Found out I don't. So now I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to organize Thursday. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. And that's the thing too. Like, people are like, what are you gonna be? What are you gonna do? It's like, it's up to God's hands. I don't know where I'm at. I know the call times of when I have to be at media, when
Yeah.
I have to be at, the stadium for WrestleMania. Other than that, I'm trying to figure out which restaurants I'm gonna hit up. Like, I've been to Philly before. I want to see friends. But sometimes it's like, I'll see you when I see you kind of. I don't know
Exactly.
how I'm going to survive, dude. I'm thinking about Wale Mania. I'm already setting up my outfit. I need to pack earplugs. It's gonna be loud in there.
Yes.
I'm old.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm
Like,
thinking about going to, like, for the culture Friday night.
yeah.
Thankfully, we don't got nothing to do Saturday morning because I stay up all night. But
Well,
still,
shit. But Saturday morning is damn stand and deliver. So like,
that's also a thing. I forgot
yeah,
about that. Stand and deliver. You got FE's Big Gay Brunch. There's
yeah.
Bloodsport. There's Stardom. There's TJPW.
It's a
Then
lot. We
there's
got
WrestleMania.
then WrestleMania night before, like you said, Friday night. Ring of like
Ring of
Ring
Honor.
of
We
Honor
got the
running
Hall of
into for the
Fame.
culture, trying to find some sleep. Like again, and like I'm just thinking about the chat and people listening. They're like, oh no, your problem is you got too many shows to go to, and it's like, but it's a problem, but it's a good problem. Like like this is what you work hard to keep working hard. You know what I mean? You take the break when you get home finally. Yeah, man.
Honey, I am taking 2 days to just sleep and hibernate after WrestleMania. That's what
Yeah,
I'm doing. I'm excited. But let's get into WrestleMania.
let's do
This
it.
build. Monday Night Raw. I can't remember the last time I've been like that hyped after a Monday Night Raw. Especially before WrestleMania in a while. The one I can really think of was before WrestleMania 35 with Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda. That segment with the like kicking in the doors and everything getting arrested. But that's one segment.
Yeah.
This entire show was just out of control.
Somebody who was on the show. And I don't want to give it away because it's kind of one of the things I got coming up. Somebody on the show told me that's the best Monday Night Raw I've been a part of since I've been with the company,
Mm,
and they have been with the company for a very long time.
mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it's interesting us watching it in real time, and I try not to do best ever, best since this, only because for me personally, I don't like Twitter person. Well, what about this show from October in 2000? Like, okay, guy, I get it, I understand, but as far as viewing in real time, feeling that type of energy from start to finish, and especially having an amazing start to an amazing finish without me ever really wanting to tune out, just an incredible Monday Night Raw. What a show.
Yeah.
What a show.
Even the like smaller bits too, like the Candice LeRae stuff, what
Mm-hmm.
they're doing with her, like it didn't feel like segments were filler,
Yeah.
you know? And now, especially with the production value of what's happening, like the different camera shots, they're doing a lot of like risks,
That
they're
long camera shot
experimenting.
holding from the ramp all the way to the action in the ring going around, it's crazy.
the
That's crazy.
cinematography the cinematography was great, and even starting from like the concession stands, going through the crowd, you running into like the LA Knight cosplayer
Mm-hmm.
yelling, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, even in the backstage segments, when, Sammy and Chad are talking to each other in the front of the camera, but then in the background, you can see like Drew and Paul Heyman talking to each other, or
Mm-hmm.
Damage Control like sneaking around in the back. There's different elements on this show that they're really experimenting with, and going into WrestleMania again, this entire show was phenomenal. But we can't be remiss and not mention the final boss. The title of the final boss, by the way, everyone just fighting over that title.
It's he figured it out again, man. He figured it out again. Um, like it's really have you ever watched Fargo, like the TV series?
A little bit, not that
All right.
much.
So in the first season, the main protagonist has a bully, and it's a guy who's been
Uh-huh.
bullying him since high school, right? When you bully somebody in high school, it's a bit more cartoonish, it's a bit fun, it's played for laughs. But when you bully them as an adult, it's a bit more stern, right? You take it a bit more serious, it's more visceral. There's less innocence attached to it. That's exactly what The Rock is, man. The Rock's been a jerk to somebody the whole time he's been there, like basically since he joined the nation. But like there was always a comedic element to it, right? There was always some fun to it. Ain't no fun to this, boy. He
Mm-mm.
told that man, I'm gonna make you bleed tonight. And
Mm-hmm.
did it and beat. You remember the Super Bowl when Prince is doing Purple Rain and it actually starts raining?
Raining. Yeah.
That's it. That is
Yeah.
it. He got his
Yeah.
ass whooped in the rain. It was like one of them good Japanese action movies, man. It was
Yeah.
crazy. Oh,
Yeah.
it's who knows if The Rock can bring that same amount of physicality to what's actually a match. It's a tag match, so he's not going to have to do as much work. There's Roman there. We know there's going to be smoke and mirrors, but man, it was so good. It was so
It
good.
was. It was so good. And like, man, it's the storytelling in that company. You know what I mean? Like it's the storytelling. And with AEW, they're cooking right now.
Mhm.
With having Will Ospreay, having Mercedes, like they're good. I love it. And that's like if I just want the pure professional wrestling aspect of it, I'm going to go there of course. And I'm going to go there immediately after WrestleMania cuz I've had enough of WWE and I want to watch some other things, you know, I want to catch up with Stardom, all that stuff.
Seriously.
But with WrestleMania, it is like, how are we building up? And this is probably the one of my favorite build-ups going into WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I think with some WrestleMania matches, you know, you think more so of the match and not like the journey of getting there. This is the journey of getting there. Started off controversial, you know, started off pretty controversial. And I know that now a lot of people are talking about like Seth Rollins not having like that prime spotlight in the main event. Listen, Seth Rollins is going into WrestleMania as a champion, and him being a lifelong fan, he gets to main event WrestleMania with The Rock. How many of us like dream of that, right? Back in Dallas when we had Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in Dallas. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah, it was a wacky idea. But now after that, we're like, yeah, Stone Cold's wrestling a 15-minute match and he's taking bumps on concrete. You know, I'm
I think
excited.
yeah. I think one of the reasons that you're not seeing a lot of pushback from talent about positioning specifically. And again, like there was like, oh, Rock's coming in, they're going to do him and Roman. Whether that was accurate or not, the pivot to it has worked, but I don't know if there's ever been a time where more talent feels utilized. Not everybody, because it's never going to be everybody. But and I say this every chance I get. When you look at specifically the men's main event scene, outside of the four guys in the main event, you got Drew sitting there in his own title match. You got Punk when he's cleared. You got Gunther. You got Jay Uso. Like the list. You got technically you got Logan Paul. Like Randy Orton is always gonna be waiting in the wings. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. It's so deep in that part of the roster. When that part of the roster is deep, I think that's good for everybody else because now, even if they're not in that main event title scene, they all got something to do. They got their tag titles. They're on the cusp of the IC title, the US title. If you look at the women's positioning now, we are never going to have a year where there's not going to be a reason to say, hey, a woman won the Royal Rumble, women should be in the main event. Like, that's how you set it up. That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do not feel like Bayley is in a bad position because Bayley's been telling this story to us for a year and a half. You know what I mean? Like, positioning be damned. It's a great story. People are very invested in it and expecting it to pay off. And now it involves the other main event one. Like, it's just been a really, really good build, if for no other reason than so much talent is included and doesn't just feel forced into the show just because.
Yeah. Admittedly, of course, I always want my women to have the spotlight. I always want
Mm-hmm.
them to main event. But I'm, it depends on me, right? It depends on me. It depends on the viewer. Depends on how I am injecting all of this entertainment onto for me, for my likeliness. And so I am thoroughly invested in Bayley. And that's me, right? When she won at Rumble, the whole entire crowd pointing at the sign with her. I feel like this is the match where it's like this is a match for the workers. Because you got Io Sky, Grand Slam winner from Stardom. You got Bayley, who's finally having like the solo moment for WrestleMania for herself, you know? And it does. I feel like the stars are aligning with that roster right now. The Intercontinental title finally feels important again. It finally feels like this is the title that you put on someone that you're going to see in that main event scene
Yeah.
right after they're done. And
Mm.
that's Gunther. And so once he's done with that, however he ends his reign, once he's done with that, it's going to be really exciting to see his position into that main title scene. And let's not forget, we've got the people in NXT, Carmelo Hayes when eventually he comes up, Dragunov eventually when he comes up. Like, it's getting meatier again, if that makes sense. Like, I
Yeah.
like a lot of options. I want options. I want to be like, oh, well, not this guy. Okay, bring somebody in.
Hmm.
And so I think, a lot of people are scared that Roman's not going to, drop it.
Hmm.
Maybe Cody's not finishing the story. Man, I mean, you were on the floor last year at WrestleMania, and I was on the press box, and I'll never forget when the bell rang, Cody lost. It felt like the air was sucked out of that stadium, and I would relate it to when the streak was broken.
Yeah. Yeah. It was again, I had my camera out, man. I had who's who from media who was on the floor on camera reacting to it, and it was the craziest thing, man. Like I whew, if it was me, I'm gonna go ahead and finish that story. If it's me, because I think that if there's a story to tell between The Rock and Roman, I very much think there is. I think that that story doesn't need a title.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that story is meant to be told about something much deeper than a title. That's like Rock said. It's about family. It's about blood. Um, even though they're not blood. Anyway, it's about family, and so like yeah, I think there's that story can be told without you having to go through that same path. But yeah, man, listen, they. I don't know if anybody ever said it out loud, but somebody said at least in private to Cody, "Hey, look, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna be a bigger star not winning than you would have been winning." And did Cody believe them? I don't know, but hey, they were right. Like Cody is as hot as he's ever been, and people are like, "I don't like Cody's stale and Cody's falling off." I'm like, "You're lying." Like even if it's your feeling, the numbers gotta matter. Like the merch has to matter, the cheer has to matter. Cody is as hot as he's ever been. He's hotter than a year ago, and it's not supposed to be possible, but it's what it is. But listen, you can't do it twice. You can't do it twice.
No.
Because not only would you devalue Cody, you devalue the Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
And that needs to be the precursor to your Super Bowl. That has to be your championship weekend. That has to stand like that. So I think it's more than just Cody. We got to make now. Now listen, I say that if Bailey and Becky and Drew all win, you might have a bit of a problem. You might have look. That could be a problem. I could see how somebody might take that part the wrong way. Hope it ain't the case, but yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
I don't know. I don't know, because it's like you said, Cody losing last year. I think a lot of people were like, he shouldn't lose, right? But now, admittedly, it's the best thing that's happened to him since he's been there, And sure, he's gonna finish the story. I mean, we all want him to finish the story, right? It's like of course, when you bring in family, when you bring a legend like his dad with the care that he put into the younger generation at the time when he was working with them at NXT, to have someone that's so um beloved by the entire industry, and then it's his son. Of course you want to like see him finish off the legacy, his dad's legacy. But there's also another story that needs to be finished, and that's Roman and his title reign and the 4 years that he's been dominating. And I do think once Cody does finish the story, I think we're officially in that new era of where we're going to. I think we're entering the portal. We're right there. But once Sunday night hits, that bell rings, and we see Cody finally lit. Listen, are you kidding me? When Cody wins and he gets his baby daughter in his arms on the top turnbuckle, lifting up that belt. Come on. I think it's all going to be worth it. The journey is all going to be worth it.
just Cody Rhodes.
Oh, you're muted, pal.
Am I?
Yeah, you were.
Oh,
you're good
I'm
now.
too far away. Like Cody Rhodes in Philadelphia with his little, his beautiful little biracial daughter. Oh no, it's so new America. I will lose it. It'll be jokes for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And I wanted to be careful. I said that. Shout out to Cody. Like, beautiful family. Cody seems like a great guy, and that's the other thing. Cody, who I don't know, I've never spoken with personally. Cody seems genuine. And if Cody ain't genuine, I believe Cody believes what he's saying when he says stuff. I really do. And I don't think that is the type of act that you pass up on with a chance for them to be at the forefront of your company. He's too good of an ambassador. Don't got a lot of, he ain't got no dirt on his name. Cody is a guy who went out, found himself, came back better, and has done everything in his power to make this thing work. Oh, man. I just think you hit a home run with him. You've done so well with Roman. Not that there's not more you can't get out of him, but somebody presented it to me yesterday, man. Like, look, what if The Rock is the new guy in charge of company who gives us our wrestling, who is the bad guy determined to make things bad for his wrestlers? And Roman Reigns, who had to turn evil to be good. What if Roman's the guy who fights the power? It could work. It could work. Yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what happens. Oh God, they got me fantasy booking. This is bad. This is really bad.
You know it's good when they got you fantasy booking, which you normally don't do.
Do not.
And which you normally don't do. It's gonna, man, I'm just excited. I want to see what kind of fuckery we get for that final. And I want, sincerely, I want the most overbooked shit ever.
Oh, night one, listen. Night one and night two, shenanigans, baby. Shenanigans. Just go for it. Just go for it. Like, do not. We need an old school in the way that Dusty would have appreciated it. Give me that. Give me that. I want silliness. I want all out. I want Solo Sikoa coming out on a moped, but still with the black hoodie on, like we don't know it's him, but driving it like this with the thumb up. Man, I want Jimmy and Jay in each other's gear for no reason at all. Like, just all of it. I want the uncles to come out, grandfathers, like do it. Tamina from the top rope, all of it. Do it. Please do it. Yes.
Yeah. And listen, there's been rumors circulating that somehow they're trying to get Austin involved in it. I need that moment where
Austin, Cena,
rock bottoms, stunners, all this stuff. They're in the middle of the ring back to back. They bump each other and then they turn around and you get that stare down of them just taking in, like, soaking in that moment. I need it.
Imagine if they mic'd up the ring, right?
You muted
like
again.
The match is going. I'm sorry, I just keep leaning back. Imagine if they mic'd up the ring and you hear Rock's Apple Watch go off and they zoom in on it. You can hear me?
We've got some technical difficulties.
Hello.
I'm going to read these super chats before get that fixed up. Will, thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, watching, of course. It is nice to finally see NXT talent, man and women, get called up and still be NXT.
Mic check.
Thank you so much, for sure. Speed Punk, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Much appreciated. We can hear you now, friend. Let's go. Pop off.
Okay. So, I'm saying The Rock has an Apple Watch on. His Apple Watch goes off. They zoom in on it, and it says 316. Then it's Austin behind him instead of the pager. Then he catches a stunner. I love it. I can't, man. Oh, yeah. Yes. Like, I want full shenanigans, too. Like, let's have a mess at the end of the show. I don't like. I'll get my pure wrestling at ROH on Friday night. Give me some silliness, please.
I want to be thoroughly sports entertained
Yes.
with this match. This is a silly match too. Like, who would have thought a year ago, if you would have showed me that poster, Rock, Roman, Cody, Seth, even Dallas, even in Dallas, you would have showed me that. I'm like, this is AI generated. Please get this out of my face. You know? So it's like, I want the overbooked madness of it all.
Absolute silliness. Like, let's get it. Like, you're gonna have like on that card, you're going to have some really like you're gonna have Gunther and Sammy, which is going to be the wrestling. I think Becky and Rhea is going to be that because I think that Rhea is conscious of the fact that she doesn't always defend the title, and we talked about it. Like over the last year, her role has been to facilitate a lot of the moving parts on Raw, and that's a great position to be in. That's what you should aspire for. It ain't about killing yourself every week, but that being introduced as part of the story, I think they are going to try to show out. Io and Bayley, I think, is going to be like the wrestling. So let's have some silliness, man. Let's have some clown shit. Serious.
Even Jimmy and Jay, that's going to be a great one. That's going to be so reminiscent of, what was it, WrestleMania 10, Owen versus Brett. Like, you've kind of got the vibes there, you know? I think this is WrestleMania 40, right? This is a huge milestone for this event. The very first WrestleMania, we had a similar main event, you know? A huge tag team with someone that is gigantic outside of the scene of WWE, which is The Rock. You know, he's gigantic. And so this is an appropriate way to get into this milestone WrestleMania. I think this might be one of the most anticipated, for me personally. I think that this card so far from what they're building up, this is probably one of the most anticipated, like, sports entertainment, pure wrestling combination. There's like, the stars are aligning with every single person on that roster. And I think, I think that professional wrestling has had a little bit, it's had to kind of work a little harder due to like Thunderdome era's pandemic. Because again, professional wrestling, it's a component, it's an ensemble work, right? You need the production, you need the crew, you need the roadies, you need the talent, but you also need the audience, And it feels like finally it's kind of aligning with the talent.
Absolutely. We got a tag team title ladder match. Like, there's many people are expecting like 7 matches per show. Right now they're kind of at 5. It's gonna feel like a lot when you're there. It's gonna feel like a big deal when you're there. It's gonna feel too short when it's time to leave. But it is going to be fun. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Can't wait to be in that press box. I will say, SoFi press box was really good. I was a little spoiled by that being my first press box.
It was a monster, man. It was a monster. We were, and it's weird. Like there's what are 2 big rows, and then there's rows behind us of people sitting there. Then there's the catering back behind. There's plenty of room to like get up and move around, and you're got that big glass and you're looking down. It was amazing. It was incredible. Yeah. I have no idea what it's going to look like at the link. Like, hopefully, because they've been to a couple of Super Bowls, they're taking care of everybody. I tell you what, though, I'm not going to be mad that I'm not down on the ground for the most part, because it's going to be cold. And look, if you see me in the street in Philly and you wearing shorts, just wave. Don't come up and dap me up if you're wearing shorts, okay? I already got a deep mistrust of you. You live a life a bit different than me. Throw me a salute, shoot me a tweet, say, hey, I saw you on the block. I'll say, what's up? If you're wearing shorts, you keep your distance. You too much of a savage for me. You stay away from me.
I forget you're from Texas. That's a little much for
shorts and 50 degrees. You people are ridiculous. No, absolutely not.
But it's not just the shorts, it's the flip-flops that go with it too.
Yeah.
No pedicure either.
You too comfortable. Like I'm glad you're having fun. But I'll tell you what, I won't get to do it this year, and I'm not saying it's my fault, but I remember last year, man, I got to I was in my hotel. There was a guy who was on the elevator. It's probably about 60, 65. I was like, hey, what you in town for? He's like, oh, WrestleMania. I brought my son. I was like, oh, where? We got to talking. And like, I basically like snuck him and his son into media day. And it was the coolest thing. So now I'm like, oh, I hope I get to do something cool like this trip. Like I'm really excited. So that's the fun part, man. That's what makes it all so cool. Like I said, we get these crazy perks with, you know, great seats and food and interviews, and that's all stuff that we worked for, and that's great. But man, the human element, I love the human element. So if you're all wearing shorts and flip-flops, maybe a quick dap, but don't stand there and talk to me all day, because I will start to pity you. Be cool.
No, but you're right. Like the human element of it. Again, having worked in front of a computer, right? Having connected with so many people through StreamYards, through Zoom, working. And it's like, there's a lot of people, especially last year, there were so many people that I have worked with for the past 2-3 years that I met for the first time last year. And it's the excitement. You know what I mean? Like, it's like entering a Comic-Con. You're with your people.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is, right? Because like when you go to Anime Con, that's like, oh, so many people know Naruto, know like Tokyo Ghoul and all that stuff. But now with professional wrestling, especially with professional wrestling of what it is, right? Like when anybody, I don't want to say anybody normal, but anybody outside of the wrestling bubble don't know the depths of the love and passion of professional wrestling, not to the degree that we know it. And so to be at like a WrestleCon or to be at WWE World and to like see other people's excitement and everything. I'll never forget Survivor Series. We were at the Superstore and Malcolm was interviewing fans. And honestly, because of him, that's inspired me to do the same this year. And I'm excited to get into it next weekend. But to meet different fans that are like, don't care about the tribalism, don't care about the politics and everything like that. They are just there to enjoy the thing that they love the most. And we met this family and it was like, wife, husband, like 3 kids. The husband was more geeked out. The father was more geeked out than the kids, you know? And like we're there and he's like, he's got the Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt and everything. He's like, man, this is my first Survivor Series. This is my first WWE pay-per-view. And, like to see his excitement and to hear it, he's like, I've always loved the Attitude Era. Like these kids don't know. These kids know nothing of how it was. And it's like, that's for me, the human element that I enjoy the most. To see someone that is that excited, experiencing it, living it through their POV of experiencing this huge event that they've saved up for, that they've dreamed about for so long. And for us in media, it's the same way, like to go to a WrestleMania for the first time as that, there's an excitement, but it's night and day compared to that fan aspect of I've watched this with my family when I was younger, and to like pass this on to my new family, to my kids, like that is what I'm looking forward to the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I got 2 more super chats and then we'll wrap up. Will asks, do y'all think we get Bianca, Naomi, and Jade versus Asuka, Kairi, and Dakota at WrestleMania? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. That's a will. Yeah. What I think would be really interesting would be if it's Bianca and Naomi against Asuka and Kairi, and Dakota is interfering and Jade helps out. Like I think that a Bianca Naomi tag team title run would be really cool in that it's a new thing for Bianca to learn and develop. And it's we're sorry to Naomi. I think that would be interesting. But I also think that any combination of one of those two and Jade as tag team champions would be interesting. But really, genuinely, I think that Jade should be Jade and Jade alone early on. I really
Mm-hmm.
think so. I think that you don't want to hype somebody up as such a singular talent and immediately have them in a team. Like
Mm-hmm.
eventually, like Bianca is a singular talent, Naomi is a singular talent, Asuka is a singular talent. And that's not to take it away from anybody else, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
these are women who, at different points, absolutely carried their division.
Mm-hmm.
But with Bianca, again, time to do something new. With Naomi, we know you can do different things. With Asuka, both of those things. So I think it would be really interesting if Jade had their back and helped them win the titles, and then Jade went on to continue to figure out who she is as an individual.
Yeah. And she needs to find her footing there as well. And with Naomi, like this is a good opportunity. I agree. I think it would be good for Bianca and Naomi to take on those tag titles because you also have to catch Naomi up in some storylines as well.
Mm-hmm.
So why not do it within the tag division right now at the moment? And a great way to elevate that division as well. There's some good names, every single week that can go out there toe to toe with them. And so I agree. And especially with Jade, like Jade's about to debut, like in ring finally, like solo debut
Yeah.
on SmackDown tonight. So throwing her into WrestleMania the week before, I don't know how that would be for her. A run-in might be a little bit more ideal for her standpoint right now in the company, as opposed to maybe a match. If they ever did, maybe if they decided to do a battle royal with the women, she could be a possible winner for that. Tiffany Stratton could be as well, but I think it'd be a good move for that. Our last super chat, Foundation Radio, shout out to Adam. The shorts and flip flops with the knee socks is a regrettable Philadelphia staple. They're everywhere, shaking my head.
Just stand over there, man. Just we cool, but just quick dap. You got to keep it going, man. Again, you live in a different life than me. I can't really be seen in those type of activities. We are not fourth graders at recess. Okay, put some clothes on. Damn.
Have you started packing for WrestleMania?
Hell no.
Yeah, me too.
Hell no. It's really, and it's crazy. It's like, so we're going to the ranch today. Supposed to come back Sunday, but then that's like a couple of hours south. So then we got to shoot back up here and take care of some stuff. And I got to get my day before I leave haircut from my bar because hey, listen. I love San Antonio. I love my home city. Some of my best memories in there. I got to come to Austin to get my haircut from my barber. I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, we're going to be on camera. We're going to be in picture. Like, we got to do this the right way. But then we got to turn around and fly out of San Antonio. So I should probably get on packing. But no, not yet. Not yet.
I saw you were tweeting like getting your sneakers together for that too. How many are you bringing?
I forgot that Southwest allows you to have 2 carry-ons. So I'm going to have sneaker duffel bag and clothes bag. I think I can do 5. I think, I need
What?
travels Wednesday.
Uh-huh.
I need Thursday night shoes, Friday night, Saturday, we'll call it 6. Maybe 7.
6?
We'll call it 6, maybe 7. I might make a stop before I go. I think we can do 6. Look, but then we got her suitcase too, so I might not get to take 6 because she might need some of my space. It's very nasty. Very nasty. Oh.
Got you. I know. I need to start packing too, man. I don't even know what to wear.
But I feel like worst case scenario, you can shoot back up if you have to. Not that you want to, but you got to.
That's cute, assuming I have anything wearable in that closet right now. I just did some spring cleaning too, so
there's
I got nothing left.
I gotta make a couple of stops before I go. So yeah, I feel.
I gotta get my nails done. Like, we need to be prepared.
Yes, it's a lot. Like, we are again, being visual creators. You more specifically, but me, being like that guy we can't talk about anymore, dancing all up in the videos on set. I got to be tight too. So I feel you.
I'm sure you understand.
Mm-hmm.
We have the official last super chat. Paul Morales, thank you so much for the super chat. I mentioned to Denise that I feel WWE needs a mid card title for the women. So many women on the main roster right now, some still to come back from injury. Yeah, I think so, but
No, no. And listen, shout out to Paul. I'm saying no with this caveat. And it's funny, the person who finally echoed what I've been saying was the best person to say it, and that's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch said, because I think that idea was presented to her, she said, no, we don't need more titles. We need better stories for the women that aren't using the titles as a crutch. And so I've always said that my original argument was like the roster is not big enough just to throw another title. But I also feel that way. And listen, I feel that way about the men. I understand why there are two world titles, but I don't think there need to be two world titles, two mid-card titles, and two sets of tag titles. I do not think that. I think that wrestling is at its best when you are competing for position or you're competing over, I just don't like that dude. I just don't like that girl. That's for me. So what I would like, if they introduced a women's mid-card title, I would like the stories to be better first to make that matter.
I agree. I'm like, I could take it or leave it either way, but again, like, I do agree with the entire sentiment of there. You just got to work on having storylines outside of that title, because it's a what's the word? It's like a crutch for some people, you know, where it's like, sure, you can use it to your advantage as much as you can to tell a story, but you need the psychology when it comes to the story other than the material.
We're saying this as they introduce WWE Speed.
That's true.
So hey, it ain't our call, right? It's like, hey, you just find something for those guys to do, but maybe that'll be fun. So we'll see.
Oh man, one last question: how does it feel to be everyone's favorite follow on Twitter? How does it feel like to be wrestling Twitter's darling child?
It's a lot of pressure, man. It's a lot of pressure because what's funny, it's good till it ain't. Then when it ain't, it's a little tight. But it's cool. It's cool because like when I kind of found that out was a little bit over the pandemic, but really at Wrestlemania in Dallas. That's when people are like, oh yeah, they rock with you. It's fun, but it's also an affirmation in the sense of they know that when it's time to do the job, I'm not somebody look to clown or take advantage or make little of them. I celebrate the things that I see. I make light of the things that I don't. Like, I want to be in the same social space as like Matthew from Botchamania, where even when we're having a conversation about something that may not have gone your way, you understand it's an appreciation of what you do, not you being dissed. So It's cool, man. It's cool. Being Uncle Cam ain't been so bad. Hopefully it stays that way.
Man, your NGLs are a glimpse into madness into some people's brains.
I am going to... I might turn those off for a couple of days. I'm definitely turning them off for Wrestlemania. Because I know it's going to be filth. It can be absolute filth, and we don't need the filth. We're trying to have a good time.
Can't wait to see the controversy wrestling media gets themselves into. Yeah. God forbid we have dinners together. God forbid.
Taking a giant picture. I'm taking a panoramic picture of everybody. I can't wait.
Oh man, it's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna honestly feel like a movie, and I think, you know, I can't speak for you, but I know that we're both eternally grateful to be in the positions that we're in, to go to this as, you know, starting out as fans and watching from home since we were so young, and now to be such a part of an extraordinary big weekend, and now to almost, I wouldn't say veterans, but now to be more experienced being in those rooms and being in a position to give advice as well. Yeah. I'm also looking forward to that.
That's helping people. That was what was really fun for me last year, and I expect it to be fun this year too. Helping people navigate space is so fun. Watch people roll in, and yeah, man, like we both both know, just like as I talked about earlier, eventually you and I are gonna age out of this, right?
Yeah.
But until then, we're gonna have a good time and do what we can to make this thing better than how we found it. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Ah, man, can't wait to give you the hug in the world. I want to see you. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Do all the good things. Of course, you're watching us on YouTube. Subscribe. There's gonna be plenty of material from me. WrestleMania weekend. If you're listening to this and you get a little ear biscuits on your audio, keep this view. Follow me on Twitter. All the links. Cam's links are also.
Yeah, man. Seahawk, CEEHAWK, Twitter, Instagram, whatever they tried to create to bump off Twitter. Some good stuff on the YouTube, and it's a great time to subscribe to the YouTube. I believe it's just Cam Hawkins, Cam J Hawkins, Cam somebody. It's actually it's Cam J Hawkins at Gmail. The reason I say subscribe to the YouTube, I'll actually be like doing stuff. And actually the YouTube, I'm sorry, is Cameron Hawkins South Congress all together. Cameron Hawkins and then South and Congress with a K. Just like you said, they're doing this WWE World thing. Hey, man, I'm going to get my little microphone and my little camera. I'm going to be out there talking to the people. Because I think that, just like you said, we spend so much time online with people who, and again, there's great content online, there's great conversations online, but we're around so many people who want to be part of the show, who want to be wrestling personalities and think that the crazier thing they say, the better it's going to be for them. Cool. I want to be around the regular dude who paid his money telling me how excited he is about the show. That's who I want to talk to. So I'm very excited to do that. So yeah, Cameron Hawkins, South Congress, all together. Alex, I wonder if a YouTube guy we know is going to come up for the weekend.
There's too many YouTube guys.
Rhymes with Kotaku. That would be hilarious.
No.
It's so funny. Going to be doing some video content. Definitely recommend if you don't follow the Instagram and the Twitter. There's going to be a lot on there. And then just stay tuned. I'm going to be on some of your favorite podcasts, some of your favorite shows during the week. So look out for me if you're there in person. Say hi, give me a hug, dap me up. Let's have a drink. Let's do all that. Yeah.
You'll be in my vlog, so people will see your beautiful face. Don't worry. Don't you dare bring up that name on my channel ever again.
I was trying to be light about it. Yeah, that would just be.
Listen, you said YouTube guy, and I said which one? Because there's way too many to count.
Hey, Baltimore, that's not a long way from Philly. I'm just saying. You
everyone
never
get
know.
your Febreze. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Cam, thank you so much. I love you.
Always. I'll see you soon. I love you right back. It's going to be a great time for sure.
Yeah.